these functions. Meth use has a paradoxical effect on sexuality. Sexual desire increases while sexual function decreases. Users often become obsessed with sex. And of course, this brings us back to the tragic consequences for the children of meth users. As we've seen, children around meth users are very vulnerable to sexual abuse. In meth homes, children often are neglected. Under the influence of methamphetamines, users obsess about the drug. Getting more and using more is the focus of all their waking hours. The result? Children are often unattended for hours or days as their parents are obsessively preoccupied by their drug use or when they crash after long periods of being awake.
And so now these drug-affected babies are born into these households that have tremendous difficulties in planning for and caring for children. The mother gets depressed, and so they'll oftentimes use. And after they've used for a day or so, they're exhausted. And so one of the common things they'll do is take formula bottles, a half a dozen bottles of formula, put them in the living room, barricade the living room so their child who is crawling can't get out of the living room, and leave them there for days at a time. So formula at room temperature is laying on the floor. The child crawls from one bottle to the next to be fed. The diaper doesn't get changed. There's no care for them, and they spend their sleeping and crawling time on the floor. And then these kids get sick. They get brought to the emergency room, or the police get involved, and we find diapers with mold in them. A dirty diaper that has been on so long that now it's had a chance to mold inside the diaper. And these kids have tremendous rashes and get severely injured from all this. And then the fact that they're not in a critical phase of their life and they're not receiving the care that they need for their development to take place.
This lack of emotional nurturing and stimulation results in developmental delays, depression, and attachment disorders. And to compound the problems, children are often literally malnourished. Tragically, for some children, the consequences are fatal. A 7-month-old boy left inside a car died from heat exhaustion while his mother was inside a nearby trailer using methamphetamine. Housekeeping, basic hygiene, meals, supervision, and routine health care are in short supply or non-existent. Children may be exposed to HIV and hepatitis by drug paraphernalia, such as intravenous needles left within easy reach. Children often miss school, suffer from unattended health problems, and lack basic nutrition and hygiene. An all too common scenario involves inadequate housing with non-functional heat, electricity, and plumbing, which creates a wretched and even dangerous environment in cold, wet weather. Meth is manufactured from a variety of highly toxic chemicals like phosphorus, iodine, solvents, lithium, and ammonia. Young children living in homes where meth is made are at risk for chemical and thermal burns from fires or explosions resulting from the heating and mixing of various chemicals. Acute toxic effects of the chemicals include damage to lungs, bone marrow, liver, and kidneys. Because of exposure to multiple chemicals, children from homes with meth labs must be decontaminated before they receive needed medical attention. Meth users often smoke the drug. The smoke deposits methamphetamine on every surface of the home, including children's toys and clothes, and even the children themselves. Just from touching exposed surfaces in their house or by breathing the air in their homes, children absorb the drug through their mouths and lungs. In one survey of children screened at a local child victim assessment center, over 30% had methamphetamine in their bloodstreams. Children are more vulnerable than adults to the physical effects of meth and other chemicals in their environment. Many children have been hospitalized with accidental intake of methamphetamine. These children suffer severe agitation, vomiting, rapid heart rate, and seizures. Children in meth homes are more susceptible to developing drug and alcohol abuse and to long-term health problems. They're more likely to drop out of school and 5 times more likely to be incarcerated. Many children are exposed to the destruction of methamphetamine even before birth. Meth use during pregnancy increases the risk of premature delivery, low birth weight, and problems with feeding, coordination, and sleeping. Some studies suggest possible long-term problems with attention, coordination, memory, and learning. Many of the young mothers giving birth to meth-addicted babies today were themselves exposed to meth as children. We hope this information about the devastating effects of methamphetamine abuse is useful to you, your family, and your community. And we hope you'll do your part in whatever way you can to help combat this growing epidemic. If you think a child is endangered because of abuse, neglect, or drug use, report it to social services or the police. You can make an anonymous report. Parents, here are some things you can do to protect your child from any drug use. Number 1, talk with your kids about the consequences of smoking, drugs, and alcohol. Number 2, let them know you don't want them to use drugs and let them know why. Number 3, say, "I love you," often. Number 4, set aside time to talk with and listen to your children. Number 5, practice with them how to say no to drugs. Number 6, know the signs of drug or alcohol use. Number 7, intervene if your child is in trouble.
In my opinion, one of the worst things a parent can do is give a place in the house where they don't go and they don't investigate. Oftentimes the child's room, maybe a drawer within their room, or a space where the child, this is my space, I really need my own space, Mom and Dad. I need to have a place where I know you won't investigate. And the parent who says, okay, this can be your space, we won't ever go in there, usually is making a mistake. Because that is part of the place where a child can now store their drugs, keep their drugs, and know they have this protected environment. It's actually enabling the risk of drugs within a household.
So, now it's up to you. We encourage you to watch this next section of the DVD with your children. And remember, drugs are not the only challenge your children face. We've included some information to help with other difficulties too.